Hello, I'm Pastor Waddle. I want to thank you so much for being here for week 1 of our Kingdom Heroes series. We appreciate you making this a priority, being here faithful, plugging in with your group, dialoguing, studying, working together. This is going to be a great series, and so we're going to jump right in here with our intro week. On the overriding feeling that recently life just hasn't seemed to be working, and sometimes it feels like it's not worth trying anymore. And this feeling has begun to pervade our whole society at large, causing many people to live with a sense of hopelessness or despair. Furthermore, this sense has led more and more people to throw in the towel, even on life itself. This overwhelming social and economic and political unrest we've experienced in our culture has caused a lot of confusion and insecurity to arise in the hearts of so many people in our nation. Nothing resembles the normalcy we once had known, we'd had lived, or experienced for so long. Nothing at all but one thing: God. He's the only thing that has been the constant. In the midst of the chaos and all the change, just been pounding like waves, crashing against the breakers that has just been coming against us, the only constant thing in our life has been God. He's been so calming, and better yet, He's remained calm through it all. His power prompted praise. His peace soothed our hearts so we could speak comforting truths to this world and to this nation. Knowing that so many have been contemplating quitting in the midst of this trial has reminded us of those people in the book of Hebrews who had also considered throwing in the towel, hanging it up, moving on. I'm sure abandoning the faith and going back to the world's ways crossed their minds in hopes that it would bring less difficulties, less trials, less hardships. Perhaps they even wondered if the Christian faith was even worth all the effort, because it just didn't seem to be working for them anymore. In Hebrews 11, often called the Hall of Faith, we're introduced to these individuals and how they responded when life got hard. That chapter is also the basis of our whole study for Kingdom Heroes, which is why we're here. These verses give us the backdrop and the conclusions to the stories we're going to explore and examine and find out what was the DNA and how did these features show up in each hero. But first, we're going to jump into chapter 10. The author of Hebrews has something important to say to those who want to be Kingdom Heroes. In Hebrews chapter 10, verse 35, "So do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. You need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what He has promised. For in just a little while, He who is coming will come and will not delay. But my righteous one will live by faith, and I take no pleasure in the one who shrinks back. But we do not belong to those who shrink back and are destroyed, but to those who have faith and are saved." The writer of Hebrews returns to the main theme of the letter, saying, hold on, hang on, don't you quit, have patience, endure, persevere. He urges the readers to not throw away or to cast away or to abandon their faith. So don't throw away your faith, don't abandon it. The word means to literally to take off or to shed, like leaves or a garment. So don't take off your faith. Don't shed your faith. It can also mean to lose it or get rid of it as undesirable, throw it away or reject it. Here he calls them to hang on to their confidence, a synonym for faith that appears a number of times in Hebrews as a significant theme. We're to have this endurance. We're to have this perseverance that's based on our faith. In fact, the way "my righteous one shall live by faith," how that's worded is important because it implies that faith ought to be our modus operandi. It should be the way we flow, the way we work. It should be our perception and our view. Faith isn't a concept to visit, but it's rather a lifestyle that we embrace and that we learn to live in. Thus, if we're not living by faith, the conclusion based on this passage is we're not living righteously. Scripture clearly states that the righteous live by faith. The motivation he holds out to them is the great reward that will be given in heaven, the day when our wages are finally paid and our treasure in heaven is awarded. So to persevere, to have the capacity to hold out or bear up in the face of difficulties, to have patience, endurance, fortitude, steadfastness. I think perseverance is a mental attitude towards problems, difficulties, and suffering. What he's telling us is that what we need the most to live as a kingdom hero is we got to have perseverance. We got to have endurance. We need the will to keep going when life gets tough. It's a determination to continue on with the eyes clearly focused on the goal. In chapter 12, the author develops this point further. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of God. There's an old hymn that they used to sing when I was a kid. It says, I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Just like a tree planted by the water, I shall not be moved. This kind of attitude is necessary on our part to finish the race without giving up. We must cultivate endurance or perseverance in ourselves and encourage it in our brothers and sisters around us, being part of the family of God. In the next 6 weeks, we're going to unpack what it means to be a kingdom hero and how to build a faith that endures by talking about the topics of faith, worship, obedience, wisdom, risk, and how to have that triumphal finish. So right now I'm turning the lesson over to your group leader. Thank you for being with us, and I'll see you this Sunday.